Art Laffer, former Reagan economist, Presidential Medal of Freedom recipient, and Florida Congressman Byron Donalds. Together, Arthur, we keep doing this. What's the name of your new book with Steve Moore? The Trump Economic Miracle? Is that the name of it?
The Miracle. It's the Trump Miracle.
All right, the Trump Miracle.
I love it. It's a fun book. We had a lot of fun writing it. It was just great fun.
I know.
Steve's wonderful, by the way. I just love him.
Yes, he is. Okay, Byron Donalds, let me just ask you this very interesting story from Mike Crapo, who's an awfully smart guy. He's the ranking Republican on the Finance Committee, which is the tax writing committee, as you know. And Byron Donalds, what he's saying is quite apart from Laffer curve, okay? Laffer curve may say there's no deficit implications. I don't deny that. But he's saying something else. He's saying as long as you're extending current policy, there is no deficit reduction. CBO is wrong. Joint tax is wrong. The history of it. If you're having new policy, you're going to have to fight the wars to price it out. But if you're extending old policies, Byron, there is no price out. There is no $4 trillion Trump deficits or any of that stuff. What do you make of it? Have you heard this argument before? Because it could wind up being very important.
Well, Larry, good to be with you. I haven't heard the specific argument, but Senator Crapo is correct. If you're just extending policy from what's been the last decade, how does that increase deficits? But this is part of the bigger lie that is in not just media economics, not economics, media economics, and that just comes from the Democrat Party. They have lied to the American people that cutting tax rates increases deficits and leads to income inequality. That is a lie. Actually, the proof is in the pudding. Obviously, Art Laffer knows this better than anybody, that cutting marginal rates in tax policy, having lower bases of tax rates, yields more revenue to the federal government, and it yields more economic growth, which helps to diminish the wage gap between rich and poor in the United States of America. Third thing I will add is that members of Congress have always been frustrated with the scoring from the Congressional Budget Office. They come out with the score. What we realize when life actually happens is that those scores are not correct. They are often wrong, which is why Congress also needs to look at reforming the CBO estimating process overall, because it doesn't meet the reality of what happens when these policies go into law. The Tax Cut and Jobs Act is the very best tax policy our nation has ever had in the history of the United States. We should be extending it, and we should be building upon that tax policy to the benefit of Americans and the American economy.
Well, Art Laffer, look, I agree with Byron. Look, the Laffer curve has to kick in, and it never does with these official estimates. I'm just citing, though, what Mike Crapo is saying, because that's a killer even for static. Even for the static crowd, the CBO and the Joint Tax Committee, which will always damage tax cuts because they don't have the dynamic scoring. Well, Mr. Crapo is saying, heck, as long as you're just extending current policy, then there's no way you should be rewriting deficit estimates and revenue losses, because it's not even germane, which is the part I love. I had not heard. I remember this with the George W. Bush tax cuts of 2001 and 2003. This argument was accepted, and it was accepted, by the way, by President Obama and his group, and there was no fiscal cliff. That's just the interesting part. I'm not saying the Laffer curve won't work. I'm saying this is a new wrinkle that might even change the whole debate. So if we get the Trump tax cuts, that's worth over 1 million new jobs, all right, minimal, whereas the Kamala tax hikes would cut nearly 1 million new jobs, 800,000. That's what I'm saying, Art. What do you think?
I think you're right. It's inside baseball that you're talking about here, Larry. But even with inside baseball, the static numbers, the way you're talking about it, we win, and we win.
Yes.
And Byron, your comments earlier were just spectacular. You're right on everything. You took everything I was going to say right away from me. Thank you. You got it all perfectly right. It was just terrific. Did you hear him carefully, Larry? I mean, Byron really had it right on every point. I mean, it was great.
Byron, you know, you just got to love that. If you mention the Laffer curve and you mention dynamic, it's like pushing buttons, Byron. You know what I mean? It's like pushing buttons.
Bum, bum, bum.
And the dog jumps up or something like that, or the car starts. Woo. I mean, it's just fantastic. Look, that's the most I've seen Arthur smile in a long time. Byron, I don't think enough has been given, though. This tax foundation price out of Kamala Harris's tax hikes, $4 trillion worth of tax hikes, would lose, they're saying, close to 800,000 jobs. This is over a 10-year period. It's probably worse than that. But I don't think enough has been given. I'm not sure that the media is even willing to discuss what her economic plans is going to be, and she's going to have a third one come this week.
Well, look, Larry, the media is not going to discuss her economic plans because they're atrocious. Frankly, Larry, she won't discuss her economic plans because they're bad and she can't even explain them. I mean, did you see the Oprah town hall? Did you see her sit down with the journalist from NABJ? She can't even explain her own economic plans. When you want to tax unrealized gains, you're going to destroy the stock market. That's not me. That's Mark Cuban saying that, and everybody else that operates in the stock market. When you raise taxes massively, when you give out subsidies for home ownership, all you're going to do is raise the price of homes. These policies do not work. So I'll be interested to see what else they're going to come out with. I guess they went and focus grouped some more phrases that might sound good in economic policy. But at the end of the day, she has had 3.5 years to think about economic policy to help the American people. And you can tell she's not done that homework. She didn't do the work. She didn't do the research. And now she wants to lie to the American people that she would do a better job with our economy than Donald J. Trump. America, do not believe her. She's had 3.5 years to create an economic agenda, and she has failed every single time.
Art Laffer, hang on one second. I want to play a little sound from Jay Powell.
Sure.
No, actually, it's Donald Trump on Jay Powell's critique of unemployment and immigration, illegal immigration. Take a listen, Art.
Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said this week, quote, "The influx across the borders has been one of the things that has allowed unemployment to rise, and rise substantially. To save your jobs, you must vote for Trump."
Well, all right, there you go. Save your jobs, vote for Trump. But Jay Powell is saying unemployment's going up in part because of illegal immigrants. Do you agree with Jay Powell?
Not really. He's logically inconsistent, Larry. I mean, if unemployment went up because of illegal immigrants coming in, wouldn't employment have gone up as well? Because they come in, some of them get jobs, some of them don't in the labor force. But when you look at employment growth, it's been declining dramatically, Larry. And that's really the problem. The unemployment rate. And Trump is completely right, by the way, in this. The unemployment rate increases is because of bad policies, not because of illegal immigrants. Their tax policies, their spending policies have led to a decline in the rate of growth of the economy and lessened employment. And that's really a serious problem. And Trump's policies, by the way, would lead to an enormous expansion of employment. I mean, you look at some of these things on the tips, no taxes on tips. You know, you remove taxes from overtime. Those are all marginal tax rate reductions that would have an enormous impact on jobs output. Can you imagine how many more service employees you'd find if you didn't get taxes on tips? Or how many overtime work we'd get, how much more we'd get if we didn't have taxes on overtime work? Those are marginal tax cuts that are great. And even the one, Larry, of getting rid of some of the salt. I loved the salt deduction limitation. I did, because I'm from Tennessee. But if you did get rid of that, that does increase the after-tax rate of return for upper-income workers and would be an increase in jobs, output, employment, and income.
Byron, I'll give you the last word. In the last year, probably longer, but Jay Powell said this, in the last year, native-born jobs have gone down and illegal immigrants have taken those jobs away. Do you agree with that, Byron Donalds?
In part, I do. We are seeing this phenomena where low-skilled labor is being sucked up in part by illegal immigrants in the country. And that's why the Harris-Biden policy on wide-open borders has been diabolical for struggling families, working families, people who are low-skilled labor in our country. You got to secure the border. You have to be able to give Americans the opportunity to be able to put food on the table for their families. So in part, that's correct. But Art is also very correct. There is a decrease in overall employment availability in our economy, and that is because of their terrible regulatory and tax policy, and it's a gross mismanagement of the American economy that is mostly focused on government subsidies as opposed to organic economic growth, which allows all people to be successful.
All right, got it. Art Laffer, Congressman Byron Donalds, thank you very much, gentlemen. We appreciate it. It's a lovely coupling. We'll do it again.